Hey guys, this is Melanie Daly, your back pain personal trainer. So what we're talking about right now is how to use a tennis ball or lacrosse ball, like I have here, for trigger point release. So this is meant to relieve a lot of tightness, mainly in the hip area, because that generally really corresponds with low back pain and general pain, because when our hips are tight, since we live very sedentary lifestyles, this causes a lot of shifts out of alignment in this whole region in our area. So if we can alleviate tightness here, our pelvis is going to shift into better alignment, and therefore we're going to relieve a lot of pressure on our low back. So we're going to go through 3 areas of the body, again in the hip region, that we can use this to alleviate tension and get your back feeling better. So let's talk about the 3 areas of the hip that we're going to be focusing on. So first, overview, we have the front, the side, and the back. So let's go into a little bit more detail now. So the front of the hip, what I want you to do, you can sort of pull up your shirt here like I'm doing and find that bony part, that hip bone. And what we're going to do for the front of the hip that we're focusing on is find that hip bone and come 45 degrees in and down from there. This is going to be that general region. So that's where you want to put that ball. And then for the side of the hip, you're also going to continue, find that hip bone. Now you're coming slightly around to the back and down and up from there. So once we get on the ball, you'll be able to feel where the correct area is a little bit more. But again, find that hip bone, come around to the back slightly, and then up and down from there. And then for the back of the hip that we're going to focus on, we're again going to find your hip bone. Now we're really coming around to the back side. And if you think about your bottom having 4 quadrants, we're going to stick with this upper leftmost quadrant here. And that's where you want to focus on. So it's pretty high. You're not really coming towards the middle of your bottom. Again, it's this upper quadrant here. So find that hip bone, come back, right there. Okay, so for the front of the hip, let's get started. So you're going to want to be lying on your stomach. And obviously we're putting our body weight onto this ball. Again, if you have a tennis ball, that's a really great place to start because these lacrosse balls are pretty tough. So tennis balls are really great when you're just beginning because you really don't want to overdo this. So you're going to be lying on your stomach, and like we talked about, find that hip bone, come 45 degrees in and down from there. And as you do this more, you're going to get the hang of it. At first you might feel like, ooh, am I in the right spot? But you should know pretty soon because it should be pretty tender and tight in there. So you're going to find a spot. And once you feel, it should feel, we have to discern between discomfort and pain. So discomfort you can breathe through, you feel in control of, whereas pain, you sort of almost gasp and hold your breath because it's so discomforting. So discomfort you can breathe through, pain you sort of feel out of control. So we want to find that fine balance, find a spot, and then instead of rolling around, we want to find that spot, stay on it for at least 15 to 30 seconds, and we're going to practice our good deep diaphragmatic breathing here. So nice relaxed breathing. Inhaling, filling the stomach with air, exhaling, letting all that air out. So really staying there, letting the tension relieve. If you've been doing this for a while, you can actually add some leg movements in to open that muscle up even more. So in this position, you can curl your leg, and that's going to open up that muscle, allow you to get a little bit deeper. But if you're just starting, maybe just hang out here. Okay, so now we're focusing on the side of the hip. So like we talked about, you're going to find your hip bone, then you're going to come slightly back around to behind you, your bottom. And now we have to lean our body weight into this. So you're going to start laying down onto your side. And you don't want to be on the bone itself. That's going to be very painful. You want to be in that fleshy tissue that's tight. So again, in the beginning it may feel a little bit confusing, but you'll definitely know when you've found a spot. It should feel pretty tight. It may almost radiate down your leg. So now you can use your arm and your upper body to control how much pressure you're putting onto that ball. So in the beginning, again, don't go too far into it. We really want to ease into this. So then you're gonna find that spot like we talked about. You wanna stay on it. So you don't wanna be rolling back and forth. You wanna stay on that. This is a trigger point release. So you're gonna stay on it for about 15 to 30 seconds, and again, focus on relaxed, deep breathing, because if we tense up, this actually is counterproductive and can cause more pain and tension. So our body has to know we're in a relaxed state to actually allow those muscles to open up further. Okay, so the last one we're gonna focus on is our backside. So again, find that hip bone, and now we're really coming around to our backside. But again, we're staying at the top. So we're not getting too far down, we're in that top quadrant. So we're basically sitting on this ball, and again, you can use your upper body to control how much of your body weight is on here. Again, take it easy in the beginning. We're easing into this. If your body senses too much pain from this, it will actually be counterproductive. So that's why we've been focusing on relaxed breathing, so that your body can be in a relaxed state and actually allow those muscles to open up. So staying in that top quadrant, roll around, try to find a spot that feels really tender. Stay on it for about 15 to 30 seconds. Relaxed, slow breathing from the diaphragm. And then you can find, so when we're talking about the front, the side, and the back of our hips, you want to spend a significant amount of time on these areas. So when you're on one area, the front, you want to spend about a minute on this area and find maybe 3 micro little pockets that are tight. Same thing for the side. Stay on it for about a minute at least and find 3 different areas. So these areas, you don't have to really be rolling around inches. They're very tiny, so you should only have to shift your weight probably about half a centimeter or so to find a new spot, because there's a lot of tension in there, and there are these tiny little micro pockets. So again, front, stay there for about a minute, find 3 little sites of tension, staying on them for 15 to 30 seconds. Same thing for the side. 1 minute, 3 different sites, back, 1 minute, 3 different sites. All right, and that is trigger point release with a tennis ball or a lacrosse ball.